welcome back to Visited by Voices Live. On a Tuesday, which is about as unusual as it gets, but something you might see a lot more of in the coming days. I am joined by my co-host, Sam.
It's been a weird fucking day, guys.
Is it a day that ends in a Y?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's why. We're also joined today by a special guest, Austin Rogers. How are you, Austin?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I'm so excited. For everybody who hasn't listened to Sheebie Jeebies, he is a Sheebie Jeebies refugee. He's been on a bunch of awesome episodes. Yeah, I mean,
True.
Dude, I always have the most, you're one of the people I have the most fun with, like Jaws, Carnosaur. And then there was the one time we did the back-to-back recording of my Bloody Valentine and then await further instructions. And I was drunk as fuck.
Yes, I remember that.
You followed me home, right?
Yeah. I followed you home. Make sure you got home okay.
Okay.
I think the neighbor also showed up while we were recording.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And was also, I don't know. Yeah,
that was
all weird. It was fine, but it was all weird.
Yeah, that was a little odd. When I got home, Chris was asking me if I was okay because I had way too much to drink, and so I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just gonna go get ready for bed." And then I go into the bathroom, and then 2 seconds later, I just fall right on the hardwood floor in the bathroom, or the fake hardwood floor in the bathroom.
Yikes.
It was a mess, but so this is the first podcast you've seen me sober. This is going to be very strange.
Yeah, it's true. Congratulations.
Thank you. But I'm really just excited to have you on because you're always so fun to talk to.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No pressure or anything.
I'll be the independent judge of that.
Really depends who you talk to.
A couple of housekeeping things before we get started. First off, there is a new t-shirt design in the Teespring store, which you can find a link under this video for, and it is that design.
Ooh, I have a shirt with my face on it.
Absolutely. And that is the ladies' classic tee that's up there for $14 plus shipping. But there is a male version as well. And we're not making much on it at $14, believe me. But we'd rather just have it out there. So if you guys want to become a walking billboard for the show and to showcase two extraordinarily attractive people, then by all means, please spend your hard-earned money and make some ridiculous, t-shirt company online money before they get shut down by the government for flagrant copyright abuse.
I'm going to get one for Chris, and that way he can have a midriff going.
There are men's shirts available. Oh, that's right. He's just so tall, it's not going to matter.
Midriff. It would be a midriff regardless, but I'm going to get him the women's shirt,
You'd have to make it available in dress size. And then,
yeah, that's true.
I didn't think that was an option, but I'll check on that. There's only so many options on the site. But but that's the thing with these shirts. Every time I won't choose one option. I'll be like, no one wants a beach towel. And someone will contact me saying, "Where's the beach towel, man?" Whatever.
Unnecessarily loud. I'm so sorry.
I don't think anyone needs a beach towel with me on it, though. That's something the world does not need. So today I was at a Dollar Tree, and I picked up some movies at the Dollar Tree, which is always fraught with danger. But the first one I'm actually really excited for. Probably misplaced excitement because that's usually what dollar store movies entail. The second one I know is not going to be great, but I like some people in it. And the third film I know is going to be a miserable experience, but it'll make sense in a second. So the first is the BBC's 2015 version of Frankenstein, which as a huge classic Monsters fan, it was kind of hard to refuse. DVD, but that's probably just fine. I don't need everything to exist on high def. The second was the Blu-ray of Distorted, the Christina Ricci, John Cusack techno thriller, which I've heard nothing but bad things about, but it has Christina Ricci in it. And I did like John Cusack back in the day before, he went all wonky. After he got too close to the microwave one too many times, and now he's kind of just all scrambled. which I'm assuming is what this movie's actually about.
I would
and
hope so.
I would just also like to point out that basically this is for Cornelius' collection out there, Mr. Hayden. Christina Ricci basically has the haircut from the girl from The Empty Man, which is a win-win for me. Finally, on Blu-ray, a film that none of us who have any self-respect should own, but it was $1.
Oh no, I'm so afraid I might own this. Oh, thank God.
So we all know that the last two Romero Dead films are not really worth owning, but for $1, I'm figuring after physical media is dead and people want to collect Romero, at least it'll have great resale value.
I'm pretty sure I bought WrestleManiac at a Dollar Tree, and I still haven't watched it. I'm saving it for a special occasion, I think.
How special can the occasion be? But so, Austin, there's a tradition on this show and others that I appear on involving slipcases.
Okay.
I'm deadly opposed to anything that increases the value or the cost at retail of physical media, because I believe that makes physical media more expensive, which is the reason that the normies don't buy enough of it. And that's the reason it's eventually going to go extinct. By eventually, I mean probably within 12 months. So I am deeply opposed to them. So I tear slipcases. Of the two that came with slipcases, which one would you like to see die?
Probably Distorted, because the Frankenstein, that just looks like that'd be a cool poster to have.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice little package. So sorry, Christina, I do love you, but you died today.
This has been the strangest best to the worst.
Oh, I only destroy Rob Zombie movies on the air, though. That's the only, otherwise I just pass them on to people. But Rob Zombie Halloween films have had a bad history on camera with me. Although in the one time I cut myself on the disc as it broke, so it was like even worse because he got his last good stab in me.
It's injury to insult.
It's like Rob Zombie's whole approach, I think, is basically let's get a bunch of actors that we all know you guys like and would pay money at a convention for, and put them in a film and just have them curse until I have the special effects crew come in and shoot some B footage of them dying. And that's pretty much the Rob Zombie thing. I'm a huge fan of his early music work. I'm such a not fan of his film career.
I like The Devil's Rejects, and I think that's been about it. Because I really hated That's 1,000 Corpses.
I actually would go. I like 1,000 Corpses more than I probably pretend to. Devil's Rejects was really good in theaters. I've watched it very few times because I think it's one of those films that's probably not going to replay for me very well. So I want to leave it where it was. And then everything after that is like,
yeah,
it's not even flyover country because that plane crashed. So
it's just the burnt wreckage at that point.
So the last piece of housekeeping before we actually talk to Austin.
Austin's just like, yep, just gonna hang out here.
Yeah, it's like the rudest thing I've ever done to a guest.
Have a spinny chair. I was contacted this week and told that I was receiving something in the mail
from a artist that goes by the name Laundry Art, and I've received letters in the past telling me they like my writing, but I've never actually received a thing in the mail. So I don't know what this is, and it terrifies me. And well, it's in this box that says "Don't open until podcast." Can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you.
Well, that was a swift ending.
Woo!
So, if I don't actually massacre myself with the knife, which again, if Rob Zombie gets to indication, I'm actually really nervous. This is like crazy.
This is like Christmas for me. Here's the mail, it never fails, it makes. I'm sorry. I'll go now.
By all means, sing because this might take me a while.
No, I think it's better if we just all be really quiet and just put you on the spot.
Well, that's even worse.
Yeah. Oh boy. Here we go. Let's see what we got.
I'm gonna laugh if this artist is medium as paper.
Oh my god. At least
There's
what is that?
It's a candle.
hickory.
Dickory dock.
The mouse ran up. Hickory tips? Is that what it says?
I don't know, but it may be illegal in some states.
Only if you smoke it. Maybe.
And oh, well, that's not healthy. People should know better than to send me
On
weapons. Something in here. It seems to be teeth.
What? It's not teeth.
Well,
Whose teeth are they?
I don't know. And a penny.
That's your lucky penny now.
Well, oh wait, there's
Two
another
more
penny.
items and you got a curse.
There's another penny.
You have extra lucky
One
penny.
more item.
So someone gave me their 2 cents and their teeth. All right. I should be reading the comments, shouldn't I? I should at least have them up.
He
Black
says
bear molar.
molar.
Oh, cool.
But did
I think we're all glad I did not put it in my mouth.
yeah.
Oh, well, the chat, it moves too fast and I can't get the right thing up there. There we go. For smoke infusing cocktails.
The hickory probably, not the tooth.
Well, maybe both.
Ooh.
All right.
But you know what? If you ever lose a molar, you can just stick that bear tooth right up in there. You don't even have to go to the dentist. And then you're gonna have like $1 million smile.
So wait, how does one get a bear tooth in any way that's safe or practical? Is there some kind of like bear dentistry available?
You'd have to talk to Leonardo DiCaprio, probably.
I don't think there was any dentistry going on in that scene. All right. It's good. It's really good.
Well, are you gonna show the rest of us?
No,
I mean,
you
we're
want
just-
you
we're
want.
just, like watching
So
you
there's
look
the
at it.
there's the back of it.
Nice. Okay.
Nico, that's not funny in a million years. That's not.
Awesome. That is so cool looking.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Wow. Look. Where are you gonna put it, man?
I don't know. It'll find its home up here somewhere. I think she's referring to the hexagon window, though. I think that's what the reference is.
I think your window's an octagon. Is it a stop sign? It's probably an octagon.
You're right.
Yeah, it's an octagon.
Yeah.
That I'm wrong. I'm putting together connections that don't exist.
Although you could technically put it in the window. It
So-
might fit.
I'm thinking that like someone's gonna have a very unhappy game of Scrabble though, because if they need a V, they're in trouble. Thank you so much, Lonnie. Thank you. It's 4 with 4 points, man, for each V.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, and a Y's in there too, and that's 4 too. Thank you so much, Laundry. This is really cool. Again, I've never received a piece of artwork, especially of me. This is probably more work than you put in. You probably put more work into this than I put into the show, honestly. So it really does mean a lot to me. Thank you so much. I might have a few questions to you about a few of the more arcane symbols I'm seeing around here, though.
Pennies, teeth, hickory, hexagons.
Show us the blade.
Oh,
yeah. We didn't get to see that.
This is for sure going to end badly. Oh, wow.
Ooh, look at that.
Nice.
That's sweet.
It's sharp enough.
Sharp enough to do what? What are you going to be using that?
To hurt myself opening the next thing.
Yeah.
I guess I don't need this little like Stallone movie kind of prop anymore. I can just replace it.
Nope,
with
you
this.
can just upgrade on up. That was redundant.
Upgrade on up. Upgrade down. Wow, all this is like really too nice. Thank you so much. It really does mean a ton to me, and it means a ton to my cats who are currently devouring the paper on the floor.
Oh, they're gonna have fun with that. They're gonna be batting that around.
Oh well, no, they'll eat it. The European cat will eat every shred of paper that's on the floor. But
you got your cat from Europe?
From Kosovo, yes.
How am I just hearing about this?
How am I just hearing that you could get bear teeth without, risking your life?
Who said laundry didn't risk their life?
That is true. I'm making some assumptions that I probably shouldn't make. I'm gonna have to Google how to use this this hickory infusion. I don't drink, but I'm sure I can. I'm sure it can be used for non-alcoholic purposes as well. Wouldn't you think?
Unless it explodes if you try to do that. I guess we'll see.
I guess we will see, or we won't, because I won't be around if it does explode. So I did not anticipate artwork, weapons, bear teeth, and hard liquor condiments. I didn't expect that. So what a way to start a show. Hey, Austin.
Week, guys.
Hey.
How did you end up on a show where I just babble about a package in the mail?
It happens to me more than you would think, actually. So it's fine. I'm used to it.
So how would you describe yourself to people who don't know you at all?
Like on a personal level or a professional level, or
however you choose to answer that.
Professional. Professional. It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's true. Professional. I'm basically an artist. My main day-to-day gig is a graphic artist. I've done everything from logo design, marketing ads, t-shirt design, embroidery, banners, all that kind of stuff. I also, not so much a whole lot right now, but I'm also a comic book creator. So I've created a few comic books, indie, and I've been professionally published about, I think 7 times, but it's nothing anybody's heard about, kind of thing. And so, and yeah, I've also done some traditional art here and there around. And my favorite thing to do art with, though, is creature concepts, or just like, weird concept design in general. And now I'm trying to make video games. I think that's everything. Yeah.
You say, I think that's everything, as if you don't think it's enough.
Yeah. Oh, I'm also a comic book writer. I've written stuff. Yes, I did that too. Sorry.
Austin does a little bit of everything. He's a Renaissance man.
I was going to make another joke that was going to make me older than I am, so I'm just not going to do that, because no one knows the band Renaissance.
The movie Renaissance Man with Danny DeVito, because I love that movie.
No, I was going to reference the band Renaissance, which I'm sure you guys have no idea about.
Like a little over my head.
Yeah, wow, or under your feet, one of the two. So, how much of that is genre work?
So the comics, I did a handful of covers for a horror comic called Sanitarium.
I still have those in my bathroom.
Cool. I'm glad they're in the bathroom, I guess.
They're in the relaxing bathroom.
Now I can just think of what they're used for.
That's gonna be this is becoming a recurring theme because I just the last Riley his book we discussed being in the bathroom as well. So apparently the highest arc you can get, the highest mark for a Visited by Voices appearance is that your work ends up in one of our or both of our bathrooms.
I can live with that. So I did some covers for a horror book, Sanitarium. It's kind of like a sort of like a Tales from the Crypt style. Each book is its own individual story, kind of type of thing. I mostly wrote for it was like a superhero book, but mostly sci-fi, and it was very I guess the term is meta. Like we kind of kept it.
Mhm.
It was very 90s comic book, but we did it on purpose for comedy purposes. Really, that's why I did it anyway. But yeah, I worked on that. I was one of the writers on that. I was a editor, and I did a little bit writing on a fantasy series called Gears and Bones. But it was mainly written by a friend of mine, Andrew. And let's see what else. There's another genre somewhere. Me and a buddy of mine. This was actually like the first time I got published. We did we did sort of like a horror action book called Engines of Doom. It was very, very indie. We co-wrote it. I did all the artwork. Basically, three demons from hell, or three demon bikers from hell are tearing up Route 666 looking for Satan's daughter because she threw a fit and she ran away from home, kind of thing. So very, very kind of got some Mad Max vibes and stuff in there. So that's like I think that's the first time I got published. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I can't believe I've missed that. That sounds awesome. I want to read that now.
I mean, it's been out for a while, but I think it was only like a total of 350 copies. So I don't even know if I have a copy of it anywhere. It was just kind of, it was published, but since it was indie, it's not like you're doing like massive sales or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure some people have some out there. But yeah, that's pretty much the majority as far as like genres I've worked in. There's been a few, like short film productions that unfortunately just, due to pretty much budget as always, they never came to light and stuff like that. So, there's some stuff I worked on just as kind of sort of being like part of the creative team or helping out with like, creature designs and stuff like that. Or they haven't come to light yet, I guess is probably a word for some of them. I've worked with a few. I've worked with a few indie places for video games here. For one video game, I was doing a lot of creature monster concept art, but I think that project got dropped, so I haven't heard anything about it in a while. But yeah, so now I'm just trying to do stuff for myself now, mainly just moving into video games and just kind of take the reins on my own stuff, I guess you could say.
So let me ask you this: why, since you're now neck deep in creature design, why is it that Hollywood thinks everything has to look like a dung beetle these days? That's pretty much their go-to design for every monster.
I just guess the current age of the productions. I guess they're like big fans of that show, Beetleborgs, when they were kids.
Oh, my age.
Hey,
Jesus.
Hey, Beetleborgs are awesome. I mean, I don't know. I mean, personally, I'm a big fan of like the old school giant insect. The atomic age of monsters. You know, you got like giant ants and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed Mimic. I thought Mimic was really cool.
It was.
But I don't know, like the last, I think the last cool dung beetle design was probably Starship Troopers.
That's the only one I can think of.
The giant ones. Yeah.
Well, I see. I think everything in those Pacific Rim movies looks like a dung beetle. I think even the original designs, the original designs from the Godzilla the MonsterVerse, besides the ones that obviously are based on the Toho designs, like the Mutos from the first, that was dung beetle stuff.
So part of the process when you're trying to come up with a creature is, you know, you're trying to pick, you know, and of course, you know, it depends on script and everything like that, but you're trying to pick on something. You're trying to start off with like something that, you know, either people are afraid of or at least makes them uneasy, you know. So bugs would be a good choice to start with. But then again, as always, you know, it really depends on the final execution of it, which, you know, by that time there's like 40 people involved, you know, looking over the shoulder and stuff and everything like that. So I don't know, like, you know, maybe those were the first designs, or maybe they had something cooler, but then they moved in that direction. But yeah, if I had to guess, the reason why is because, you know, you're starting off of a base fear, you know, which could be snakes, could be clowns, could be bugs, you know, all that kind of type of stuff. And that's one of the starting points for doing, you know, a creature design. Personally, I like to just kind of start with silhouettes. You know, like I'll get like a Sharpie and I'll mess around with some, you know, with some crazy different silhouettes. How crazy I get depends on how much, you know, free reign I have, depending on the story and stuff. But the reason why I like to mess with silhouettes is because, you try to picture the scene of, you know, there's like a hallway and it's backlit, you know, and then you have the creature and you can't see any details. You just see the creature's silhouette. And so it's basically coming up with a silhouette that could, you know, invoke a certain type of fear or uneasy feeling just by seeing that silhouette, you know, because if you're doing it good, then in my opinion, you know, then, you know, you can get a lot out of the silhouette for a while before you actually, you know, reveal the details of the monster, kind of stuff like that. So yeah, so personally, I like to start with silhouettes and then just kind of go from there. But
does it feel more intuitive if you start with the silhouette that way?
I feel hold on a second. I just feel like it's more abstract at that time, and I'm not like, you know, not making any hard decisions, you know, at that point, if hard decisions haven't already been made, because, you know, it could already just be like, hey, it's a werewolf, but, you know, figure out the rest. So what I'll mess with is, you know, like a silhouette of a werewolf, you know, like, you know, like the way it stands, the type of attitude, you can just kind of tell it has, you know, from like the particular silhouette stance, stuff like that and everything. And also it's one of those things too about like, trying to make the silhouette maybe to where it's not obvious because of the way it is standing, you know, like maybe you don't see the pointy ears quite yet over its, you know, hulking back or anything like that, just because you're, you know, just, I don't know. It's one of those things, but then again, it's like, you know, what I do doesn't necessarily get translated into like the final execution of it, kind of type of thing. And so, yeah.
That's cool. It's sort of like active imagination, but with drawing, you know?
Yeah. But at the same time, like depending on the story, you know, there's definitely things you have to keep, you know, just for it to make sense. Like I saw this one movie a few years ago and I was really enjoying it until they showed the monster, because it just did not make sense. Like it made me mad. It was called, was it long is the dark, or long is the night, or long is the dark, or something like that. And so anyway, you know, it's a small town, you know, surrounded by, you know, thousands of acres of woods. You know, it's winter, and you know, there's people dying, dogs are going missing. and there seems to be this sort of like Native American tie-in to
Okay.
it. And and I was getting pretty pumped because the whole thing was pointing towards werewolf or skinwalker, because of the Native American direction it was going, and I was saying like, oh man, if this is a werewolf movie, then it's been doing pretty good so far. And then they and they show the creature, who's supposed to be living in the woods for thousands and thousands of years. It just, I mean, it's an alien. Like it's just a big turd. It's got turd skin. It doesn't look like something that's been living in the woods for thousands of years. You know
A
what I
dung
mean?
beetle.
I mean, to be honest, it looks a little more like Chud, from the Chuds from Chud. Like it was more along those lines, and I was like, okay, I hate this movie now because. But yeah, it was just kind of like it's I don't know, it's stuff like that where it's kind of, I don't know. And again, I just don't know if it's just one of those things where like they just don't have the same thought process as our people, or maybe they're just trying to be like really different, like, oh, you thought it was a werewolf, well guess what? And it's like, well, I was watching this whole movie because I thought it was a werewolf. I like werewolves. I don't know.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
I
and you just
think
ruined it for me.
I don't know if you've heard about that thing where it's like, that feeling that you get when you're standing like really close, to a cliff or something like that, and you're pretty high up, and your brain kind of has that urge to jump. I think it's like that, but they actually went through with it.
Yeah, it's like,
And
let's
they were
do
just,
it.
fuck it. Let's throw it in the garbage. Throw this great idea in the garbage.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that.
Are
And
there
then
any?
then all of a sudden, like 20 of them came out of the woods, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
Are there
like a
any?
whole bunch of them. Sort of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are there any classic monster designs or even recent monster designs that you think are your favorites, or that particularly stand out as, something that really stuck with you or really inspired you in your own work?
I could cheat and say The Thing because that silhouette is pretty much anything you want it to be. Which of course, I'm talking about the John Carpenter one, which is pretty much my favorite movie. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like the whole idea of that is, you can change the monster to fit each part of the story, basically, kind of thing, and it also taught me at a very young age you can't trust people. So yeah, so it's I mean, I like The Thing, but as far as classic, I would say I'd probably say like old school Frankenstein. Just because of the height, and like even the silhouette. The silhouette's just really imposing. And then and when he walks, he kind of has like an unnatural walk. So yeah, there's this thing. I can't remember the actual technical terms of it, but there's this thing, from like way back when we were still primal and everything and stuff like that, to where basically our brain and our eyes are trained to recognize if another person is walking different, because and if we notice it, then I imagine back then, especially, you're kind of like repelled in some sort of way, and that was our brains protecting us because this the reason why this person's walking weird all of a sudden could be danger. It could be a virus or something, or there could be a predator nearby that caused them to get the injury. So our brains, at the very least, feel very uncomfortable when we see people or humanoid figures walk weird, and that's one of the reasons why zombies always just seem to be like one of those things. There's a lot of reasons why zombie stuff works, but one of the actual like psychological things is it's a person walking weird, and that that like subconsciously affects us in our monkey brain to to do to just kind of like be cautious of that. individual kind of thing. So, Frankenstein definitely had a little bit of that, especially when he has his arms stretched out.
That's gonna make me rethink about like when I watched The Thing, about how how each of them are moving now, because I didn't think to look through it through that lens at all.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's just one of those things that you just kind of pick up, or you just kind of like I try to read stuff about that to make my what I do better, kind of type of thing. So, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting psychology out there that you can apply to those things, to creature making and everything like that.
There's a concept called distrust of mirrors, which if you get into the subject of why we find things uncanny, which is and I apologize for the crinkling paper as the cat eats the paper. When we look at an object with expectations,
like expecting your cat not to eat the paper.
Yeah, she's just snacking on the paper down there. When we look at an object with expectations, especially the more similar it should be to us, even minute differences become very disturbing to us because our expectations, when not matched, immediately trigger a fear response. So, for instance, if you were to look into a mirror and discover that you had a black eye, but you were not aware that you had a black eye, you would absolutely go into a fear response.
Yeah.
And when we put images on a screen that we have expectations about, subverting them just slightly is always more valuable than subverting them huge.
Yeah.
So people always wonder, well, obviously Jaws is an exaggerated shark, right? But why does it still work? Because they didn't go megalodon, right? They just went big shark.
Yeah.
The Meg movie works just fine as escapism, but it's not scary.
Yeah.
Well, what's the major difference? It's the creature itself can't be scary because it goes past the uncanny into this just fantasy world. Why are the Jurassic Park dinosaurs scary? Well, because the movie establishes that there are expectations, but just slightly off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of the art of a great film versus films that think, oh, well, we'll put a vampire on screen and it'll be enough. No, you got to do something. You got to have that mirroring effect involved.
Yeah. Yep.
When was the last movie that you saw, Lauren, that did that well?
Hereditary. Hereditary does mirroring constantly, and that's why it's effective. The Witch does it really well as well, but Hereditary, I think, is the more powerful of the two.
Which one do you like more out of the two movies?
Hereditary, because I'm a very simple man. Like, I prefer the stuff that affects me more. If I feel something I've never felt before, I'm a fan. The scene where he's in school, and he looks into the mirror of himself, and he has that ridiculous grin that he's not making. And it's a really, we've seen a lot of that kind of thing done a lot before, but what we haven't done is followed it up with immediate real peril. When his reflection forces him to smash his face into the desk, breaking his nose, and that sheer terror of that actor really pulling off the scene. That is a perfect use of the uncanny. Another example would be in The Haunting, the Robert Wise version of the film. The I'm not holding your hand, Eleanor sequence is really uncanny because it plays with our expectations this much. The same scene in Evil Dead 2 is done as broad comedy because you are expecting it. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let me ask you this: Do you consider the whole thing of Midsummer to be mirroring?
That's a really good question because it has an excellent use of mirrors in it, especially in that scene in the apartment.
Well, the thing about so yes and no, because there's a couple different literary traditions going on with Midsummer. There is the folk horror thing, which is the obvious side, but they're also doing a modern relationship drama as horror. And I think it's a smart film. It was my most anticipated film of the year it came out, and I was actually so afraid that it wasn't going to live up to its expectations. That ended up not going to see it in theaters, and I go see everything in theaters. I mean, everything. I saw The Unholy in theaters. Don't do that. I saw In the Earth in theaters. Don't do that either. That's really bad too. But when I did catch it finally, when it was released on Blu-ray, I found a film that I really, really liked, but there was still it didn't quite match what was in my head, only because I was expecting Hereditary, The Witch, Lighthouse, that level of just personal satisfaction out of the film. And I think what it does really well, and it's a little bit unfair of me because it's my expectations that rather than create an uncanny effect, at this point it was creating the opposite, right? It couldn't quite reach the level I wanted it to. And that's on me, not on the film. I would still rather see something like a Midsummer, which gets 90% there and leaves 10% on the table, than most of what Hollywood ships out in a year, which is like 20% there and 80% not.
Yeah. I liked Midsummer. It was like, after seeing Hereditary, that was such a gut punch. And then I watched Midsummer when, eventually it came to streaming. And I was a little worried because, Hereditary is a hard watch if you have any sort of family trauma. And Midsummer had a happy ending. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with this.
I think Midsummer, my main thing with Midsummer is that I think there's a rule that if characters go looking for danger, they deserve it. And while they don't go looking for danger necessarily, they have all kinds of warning signs along the way, and they keep striving forward for whatever reasons they do. So I think that's a little less effective than, a family being haunted, scare quotes, by their ancestry is it's not something you can escape. You're in that situation. You're stuck. You're there.
Yep.
And of course, the folk horror tradition does involve travel, and it does involve different, modern culture and being contrasted with older culture. So it's almost unavoidable. But I do think Hereditary is I think Hereditary is the most recent, honest-to-God horror classic that we have.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think you can really... It set such a high bar for everything that came after it. It set such a high bar that Austin just was like, just pieced out of this podcast.
Well,
sorry about that.
No, you're good.
He was like, that reminds me, Peanuts. Anyway. I would say, though, that the thing is, and I just, on Region Free, I originally discussed this, is that A24 is having a negative effect in one way, which is that if we want to measure everything up to it, we're going to have problems. And as much as I love the A24 films, they're not a lot of fun.
Yeah, but they are really beautiful and well done.
They're awesome, but we need them to be the dessert at the end of the meal.
Yeah, I wouldn't want everything to be A24. Like, I do like my schlock.
Yeah. So, this week I saw Separation. And because it's most recent, it's a horror film. I got a theatrical release, so I have to go, right? And I was pleasantly surprised. It's not a great film. It's a C+ for me, right? But I expected a D-, maybe an F, right? Because that's what I've programmed myself to expect from these things. And it was way better than that. Was it something I'd say rush out to see? No. But a lot of people are going to like it when they eventually see it just on Netflix or on Amazon Prime for free, right? And I think we need those films too, desperately.
I think that's interesting though, because there are definitely movies where you see it and you can recognize that it's really meant for a streaming service. And I'm not talking about Hulu's Into the Dark, because those are 95% like those are rough movies.
Straight trash.
I'm trying to give Blumhouse the benefit of the doubt, and I'm probably fucking stupid for it. But I thought Puka Lives was well executed. Like, Puka Lives was the movie that Slender Man should have been, playing on the whole thing with tulpas. But Slender Man just shat the bed, so their fault. But yeah, there are different like tiers of what willingness to go out to a theater to see it, pay full price, or even now, with the pandemic, just to go and buy it digitally when it first premieres. I'm still at that point where I got burned so badly because I decided to go and buy the remake of Black Christmas. And it's still there. It's still on my account, and I can't. No, yeah, I spent $15 on mine. I didn't get the fucking Dollar Tree. So I really want to watch The Craft Legacy because I know it's going to be terrible, but I'm not going to burn another $15. Like, I would rather take the $15 and wipe my ass with it. I'd have a better time. But I'm going to hate watch it. It's just sort of like, how much am I willing? What's the trade-off? How much am I willing to hate watch this? Wow, that skewed into really negative territory.
Well, it's funny because I think we're kind of there in the genre in a way. I think that as much as we get hopeful about things, we get very distrustful of most things that come out. And it's kind of unfortunate. And I think it's why people keep looking at the 70s and 80s and thinking, oh, those were the golden years. When in reality, if my collection on Blu-ray and DVD is not alphabetical, it's by decade. I don't do it year by year, but I do it by decade. So the 30s are with the 30s, the 40s are with the 40s. Simple. And an argument can be made that, more recent stuff comes out, it's in Walmart, and you just pick it up, even if you don't like it as much as an older thing that you have to go out of your way for. But by far, like, my favorite decade of horror is the 30s, right? But if you look at my collection, like the 2010s through 2020, whatever that decade is called, because I really still haven't really quite figured it out, really was a pretty strong decade for me when you look at the collection and what's stuck around. Whereas like the 1990s, it keeps getting thinner as I get rid of stuff that I realize, hey, haven't watched it since I bought it in 2001.
Yeah, see, for me it would be, I'm actually slowly starting to warm up to the aughts, which is very strange. But I'm always going to have room in, I'm always going to have space in my heart for the 90s, just because, like, I was, just becoming a teenager, essentially, when, Scream hit. And then, every weekend there was a new horror movie in theaters that I could go see. So I think that right now I'm still holding on for nostalgia's sake. What was the last movie you saw in the theater? Because I don't think, like, I haven't been to a theater in a while.
Yeah, I don't even know if I remember. I think it was Valentine's Day, so I think it was like some stupid rom-com. I can't remember the name of it. It seemed like it was gonna be fun, but I think we were both kind of like, we could have not seen this, and it was but yeah, I don't even remember what it was. That was like the last movie I saw. I was gonna say on the 90s, I think the movie that freaked me out the most in the 90s was probably Final Destination.
Technically, I think didn't that come out in 2000 though, or was it 99?
Was it? I thought it was 90s. Am I off? I might be off.
I don't know. I'm sure. I'm sure.
I mean, it was only 10 years ago, right? I mean, how far is that back?
Oh, it's got to be further than 10 years because there was 7 films in that cycle, wasn't there?
That was a joke. It was because when I think of the 90s, I think of like only 10 years ago or something like that.
I know. No, it came out in 2000. So, oh God, it's Final Destination's over 20 years old.
All right. Well, I take back my statement then.
That franchise does not get the credit it quite deserves because you know what? Even when I don't think they're the greatest installments, they were fun popcorn horror. There's not a one of them that I think is a actually bad film. They just get kind of like cut and paste at a certain point. I'll say the second film is a film that I have gleeful fun with every time, and it feels like it's about 20 minutes long because that movie just flies by.
I always liked part 2, Final Destination. That one, I think that one's pretty solid. 3 is where you can feel the copy and paste, but there's still some originality in there.
Yeah, but it's amazingly made that many films based on that concept, and they were still fun.
Yeah.
That should have gotten old a lot faster than it did.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Mortal Kombat fatalities. You just kind of keep coming with new ones, and it still works.
Do you guys want to hear my pitch? I'll never get to give it. So my pitch for a Final Destination movie?
Sure.
Yeah.
So my whole thing was I thought that they needed to escalate because every film was kind of the same size. It was in the same container. So my concept was you started at a subway station, right? And you get your characters and you give you formula, obvious final couple, other your secondary characters. They're all milling around. They're having their little conflicts. We spend a little bit of time with all of them. train starts coming down the station. You look and you're all ready for the big train crash, right? And a dirty bomb goes off and destroys the city.
Oh, okay.
So now the stakes are reverse order death going into the people because it was a suitcase on the platform. So our couple are the last. And the idea is now you have to disrupt death on a massive scale.
Good God. I'm going to be there all night.
Well,
Like a
I think
5-hour movie.
I think there's a way to do it, but I think it could also. I think it's you need to really bring things to a bigger level to justify more movies.
Yeah.
So you wipe out, say, Chicago, because really, right?
It's not doing anything.
It's fine. The stakes are high, but still, it's Chicago. They're not going to notice. Laundry says about Midsummer, take your kid sister to this high school party. Nothing can go wrong.
Oh man, 30 minutes in, it's just right there.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I really thought it was going to be a slower burn. Nope. That head's coming clean off.
Yeah, people do refer to that film as a slow burner. I don't see it. That movie hits the ground running.
It does. I guess maybe it's a slow burn because it's long. Who knows? I could see what they mean, but
it's just not my experience with it, right?
I don't know. It's funny because I probably, I know I reviewed this, but I probably called it a slow burn at the time, and now I'm just like, no.
Do you guys have a favorite Final Destination kill? I guess it's really a Final Destination death. Kill sounds like there's an active player involved.
The one where that pane of glass comes off the building.
You took mine.
Sorry. Pancake the dude.
that was mine too.
It's not like you owned it. It's like it's our favorite one.
Damn.
Sorry.
I got nothing to follow up with. That whole setup was great though.
You could have the slipping in the bathroom, hanging himself on the shower curtain scene, I guess. Is that what happened? I know he slipped in the bathroom, didn't he?
Ponytail in the elevator, I guess. You know what would be great if there was like a Final Destination version of Monopoly, but you just land on all the different deaths instead. Or each little different symbols of death. Like somebody gets to be the Grim Reaper, and then somebody can be some other cultural icon of death.
You get your free get out of death card.
Yeah, or just free kill.
And maybe you could install one of those little chips like they have on the greeting cards that can play sound. So you hit on jail and Tony Todd starts talking to you for a while. Okay, doesn't progress the plot at all, but he talks to you for a while, and that's all.
Yes.
My beloved Hellfest does the same thing. It's like, hey, look, nothing's happening right now. Tony Todd, here you go. Hatchet films do that. Like, Tony Todd is one of those actors. Like, besides obviously Candyman, like. You bring him in when you just want someone to talk for a while and no one to mind.
Yeah, no. Again, Tony Todd is one of those guys that could read the phone book, and I would pay rapt attention.
I always thought that Morgan Freeman and Tony Todd needed to make a film as God and the Devil.
Why aren't you pitching that?
That'd be cool.
Well, you didn't like my Final Destination idea, so.
Morgan Freeman and Tony. Dude. Go write that and make Hollywood produce it.
I don't think Hollywood is exactly knocking on my door at this point.
You have to go knock on theirs. You know how this works.
Yeah, you got to go to LA to do that. LA.
No, because they're rampant with COVID. Nobody wants to go to LA. And traffic's terrible. Everybody's going to Austin. It's fine.
I'm in Jersey. Terrible traffic is kind of my thing.
Yeah. We just have broken infrastructure here.
Has Sam told you about her movie story she's not working on?
No, she's not.
I probably told you this while drunk, so I don't remember
it. Black Friday.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that. Everybody's going to take my idea now.
I didn't say what the idea was. You don't have to say
I don't even need to. It's in the ether. It's in the ether. I forgot I was even supposed to be working on that. Like, it's been so long since we talked about that idea. It's like, whoop. But yeah, it was basically a day after Thanksgiving slasher idea that I had. And it all took place in a, like one of those big box stores overnight when they're stocking for Black Friday. So everybody has to come in on Thanksgiving Eve or Thanksgiving night and, cut their time with their family short in order to make sure that everything's on the shelves. And then I thought it'd be cool if it was kind of like a lockdown thing. Shouts out Jersey traffic.
I've always thought that a Black Friday horror movie makes sense too. Like you get a bunch of people rush into a Macy's or whatever. And you can even set up your MacGuffin, right? They're all there to get that new Cabbage Patch doll or whatever. But then there's a fire alarm or something, and people start trampling on each other, and it turns into warfare. And tell it in real time, because I think an hour and a half real time, midnight, just people getting trampled and turning on each other, and it would basically become battle royale. I'm down.
I could see that. I was thinking something more like more of the Friday the 13th feel to it, because it takes a few hours to stock shelves. I know this is having had to work that shift, and it sucks. I had to do it with the flu one year. It was brutal. But then
they wouldn't make you do it this year with the flu.
The flu doesn't exist anymore. Nobody's dying from the flu. It's fine. You haven't heard? Sorry, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway. No, but I mean, Black Friday in itself is a horror movie in reality already. So it's like, how do you make that scarier? There's, you kind of have this kind of thing. It's kind of like, well, how can I make humanity even darker and more materialistic? That is the Marianas Trench of people. It's Black Friday.
We're back to Steve Alton.
I know.
See how that works? I
can't get the word trench out of my head for some reason.
So you're not going to make it to Hell's Aquarium, I take it, Austin?
No, I'm eventually going to get there. I'm just going to take a break like I'm going to do. What I usually do, I didn't realize he had that many books out. So I was like, and I gave the Meg a shot and I actually really liked it. So I was like, okay, I'll do the next book and then I'll switch over to like a one-off, different type of book and come back. Cause I've done the thing where like, there's been a series out and, okay, cool. I'll just get all these and I get burned out on it halfway through. And then like never go back and finish it. So
I liked the Meg for all the science. All the sciencey parts were really good in the Meg. I just don't like Steve Alton's I don't think he understands how to write female characters very well.
Yeah.
I thought the book itself was very interesting. And it was, kind of like it led me down a weird science rabbit hole. I mean, not to octopuses. That's a different story that we'll not discuss on the air. But that sounds even worse.
Wow.
But so Hell's Aquarium an actual? Is that an actual book title?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to read.
And it is exactly what you think is. Listen, Steve Alton's one of those guys. He takes a lot of shit inside the horror writer community for like he underwrites. There's no question about it. I mean, and it's kind of formula, but he sold a lot of damn books. And he got that precious movie deal, even though the movie doesn't really follow the book.
They're working. They just announced a couple of days ago they're doing the sequel.
Yeah,
with Jason Statham coming back
to kick some more sharks.
Well, apparently China's economy is doing well. Look, we've all seen the Meg.
I didn't dislike the Meg. I mean, if you want just a big dumb monster feature, it's fine.
No, it was fun. It was fun as just a monster feature for sure. I did have fun with it.
I find myself. I think this goes back to what we were talking about with Jaws. Was like regular ones, like open water or what was it 47 meters down, I don't really. Like those are fine, but they don't really do anything. So I think because of Jaws, for me, there has to be something different about the shark, which is probably why I really like. Don't hate me for this, but I really like Deep Blue Sea.
I haven't like a shark's fin.
Yeah, I just really like. That's one of those movies. It's flipping through channels. Oh, it's on. Okay, I'll watch it again.
Exactly. Correct.
Well, so I think they should literally cross over a lot more franchises. That's one of my big pets anyway. So it's like once the money starts tagging down, yeah, have him be his character from Crank, and then have have a character from a different series show up, and just what the hell? It doesn't make a difference. No one cares at this point. And name someone Brody just to confuse people. Why the hell not?
Put Adrian Brody in the movie. Really
and name him
throw
Brody.
off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we talking about Predators buff Adrian Brody, or
yes?
or
why not?
The piano Adrian Brody? Okay. Yeah,
no, I'll go with Predators buff Adrian Brody. That's fine.
We'll go.
He had like cheese grater abs in King Kong, though. To be fair.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'll go with Jacket era Brody because that's a good film, and he does sad well.
Yep. Some people are just born with that kind of hangdog face.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine
I'm born with a resting bitch face, so I just look angry all the time.
I just don't understand the casting. Like you going, oh, we're making a Predator film. Call Adrian Brody.
I don't know. Well, I mean, Topher Grace is there too.
That's true.
That's also questionable casting.
But then again, there's a tradition of that in that franchise because they're going, we can't get Arnold back. Danny Glover. Okay, that's where I would have went to. I don't know.
Hey, I worked out fine with Predator 2, man. Predator 2's a fun little romp.
It's probably my favorite of the Predator films, but it's that's not saying much because I'm not a big fan of that franchise. It always seemed like a cool monster and then like cardboard characters, and that's kind of what that franchise is built on.
I'm just waiting, checking my watch for the Fempred, and then whenever she shows up, Fempred.
It's got to happen.
I know. I'm just waiting for her to show up on screen instead of just in a comic. That's all. No biggie.
Well, we're getting the Native American girl versus the Predator next. That's the thing. That's the next movie for real.
I don't know who that is. What Native American girl?
No, it's like a 14-year-old Native American girl versus the Predator. That's the next movie.
Stop lying.
I'm not lying. That's really it.
Lying. It's not true. Really it's not true.
Well, the last
14-year-old kid. You can't have
like the last update they gave on it. That's kind of where it was. Yeah, it's kind of where it was at. Was basically. Yeah. So I guess it's taking place. I mean. Did they say when it was taking place, like year-wise?
I skimmed the article, laughed, and I've tried to block out as much of it as I can.
Yeah.
But I do believe that there's some new rights issues that may make them rethink all of it. So that's
well, good. I know that there was some pushback from some people that were representing the Native American community. For them assuming, I mean, it was like so the way that they kind of like explained it in the articles and stuff was that like the girl was defying gender stereotypes within her tribe, and they got some pushback of saying like, well, why are you automatically assuming that we had those stereotypes because the women were warriors too, is the kind of thing. So they like I saw last time I saw like there was some complaints about that on that kind of thing, but I haven't seen anything since then about it.
Well, right now the writers are suing to make sure that their rights reversal case goes through. So I mean,
yeah, that's right.
So and it's the same lawyer that was involved with the Friday 13th case. So, yeah, he just goes from right owner to right owner wherever he can get his cut. That's his whole thing.
Let's get him on the show.
You want to get him on the show? I don't think he'll do it, but I'll try. I'll try.
Yeah, go for it. No, yeah, like I know, I like Dan in the chat has an excellent point. A kid fighting the Predator is next level stupid. But here's where it's going to get worse. So if this actually does happen and we get our 14-year-old girl fighting the Predator, I guarantee that just to make my life as painful as possible, she's gonna get a Predator suit for no fucking ass reason, and she's gonna save the day, and I'm gonna walk out of the theater.
You know what I think it should be? I think it should be a kid fighting a kid predator.
That's what I was gonna say. That they should Bugsy Malone the whole thing and just have all the actors be kids, including the predators. That'd be amazing. Yeah. They should do that with every franchise. Can you imagine a Bugsy Malone version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? I'm down. Kid Leatherface? Come on.
It'd be like Predator Daycare kind of type of movie.
Predator babies.
Yeah. It's all part of the training.
Predator baby. Oh. My God. Oh, this makes me so sad.
But, again, let's not...
the 14-year-olds.
Let's not fool ourselves, though. This is a franchise that's been always in search of the good movie, right? I mean, a lot of people like the first film, but it's just an 80s like action schlock fest, really, that just happens to have a lot of people like in it, right? It's not like a great movie.
I mean, the first two are solid, and I like the fact that 2 is doing something different. I mean, yes, it's in the concrete jungle, but I don't know what happened after that.
The only thing I have a problem with 2 is that it introduced this idea that the predators are somehow noble hunters. Like, oh, but they're noble. But that doesn't make any sense because in the first film, the one's like, oh, I lost. I'm gonna blow shit up. I mean, that's not a noble thing to do. Right?
Just kidding.
Yeah, yeah. I think they would have been better just to keep going with it was like a vicious hunter period, not worried about the nobility thing. And maybe we could have avoided the Alien versus Predator movies then if that happened. So.
Yeah, I do kind of like the thing is the problem with if you don't put the nobility in, how do you develop the character of the Predator? I mean,
how do you develop
something like Aliens?
How do you develop the character of a critter? You don't. They're there to do what they're there to do.
Yeah. I mean, I saw parts of that Critters series that came out. I think it was it was just
the Shudder thing that was like 15 minutes an episode.
Yeah, I was like, what is this shit? Why are they talking? I'm so confused.
Well, they do talk in the movies, but never like have conversations.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, this is a full ass conversation.
I love the Critters. I'm fully aware that there's exactly 2 good films, and then there's 2 not good films that I would excuse you for loving because they're kind of awful in the right ways. I didn't see that last feature film that I think premiered directly on Walmart shelves. But I did see the first couple episodes of the Shudder exclusive series, and wow. Let's just say I didn't continue, and if Gilbert Gottfried is the best thing you got going,
Sometimes that's the case.
Yeah. They should have made him the voice of a critter. Is what they should have done.
Yes, I mean, why would you not? You're wasting his time.
And in that last Critters film that went directly to Walmart, my understanding is there is a friendly female critter in the movie.
Friendly, as in like she's fucking.
She's a good guy.
No,
she's a good guy. She's fighting alongside the good guys against the male critters.
Like Gremlins too.
Well, I don't know. If that
she doesn't sound as rapey as Greta from Gremlins 2. So
Greta is amazing.
I love Greta.
Everything about Gremlins 2 is amazing. There's a case where I will honestly stand up and say, sequel better than the original? Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that.
It does happen. It happens quite a lot, actually, and people tend to think of it doesn't. I mean, my favorite film is Bride of Frankenstein. It's a sequel.
Touche.
Jess Graham is declaring his independence from the Alien, Predator, and even Terminator films. I love he makes it sound like there's been. I'm even done with the Terminator films because there's been so many good ones of those.
The last good thing I saw out of a Terminator movie was Christian Bale losing his shit. And that wasn't even like just offset.
That same movie features one of the funniest things ever, which is that you get Michael Ironside in your movie and give him nothing to do. he basically is on a boat screaming into a microphone. You're like, it's Michael Ironside. Just write the movie around him, and I'll watch it. It's Daryl Revick. It's Ham Tyler. Just
I know.
That's what he showed up in something recently. I can't remember what I saw. It was a theatrical though. I remember that was a big deal to see him on screen. He's a bigger guy now, but it's like just you can't take your eyes off him. You're like, Michael Ironside, come back to movies, save movies for us.
Wasn't he in Turbo Kid?
He was.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, he's always the bad guy.
Yes.
Even in Space Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden
Zone. Yeah, absolutely. He plays the spider guy, monster alien creature thing.
I'm so, you know what's fucking wild is that I had to tell Chris about that, and it's just all Ghostbusters references. He didn't know, and I didn't know, and now I feel like a bad Ghostbusters fan.
Well, have you seen what was the other one that came out the same year? Battle of Jared Sin, Metal Storm, the Battle of Jared Sin. 83 had a lot of 3D films coming out between 83 and 84. That is hilarious. Like that film is a drinking game for people who don't even need to drink, and you'll feel drunk.
Oh, it's one of those where you get the laughing hangover.
Oh my God. It's just, there's constantly shit going on that should not go on. And it's all in 3D, which it's all looking like this constantly.
Jesus.
It's amazing. That thing hasn't gotten a glossy Blu-ray release, I don't think. We need that in UHD 4K, I think. Oh, so Jess, I just gave Jess props, but now he follows it up with this.
All right, we're going to have to wrestle for it.
Something's got to have to happen.
No DQ match. Hardcore rules.
Okay, so in the chat, I'm going to need all of you to weigh in on this. Gremlins versus Gremlins 2, knowing that Gremlins 2 is the right answer. But we're going to need your opinions on this. And Dan is saying he always doubled Metal Storm and Space Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone, as you should. In fact,
intuitive.
They're kind of the same movie in a lot of ways.
I would hate to be stuck in a storm of metal. I'm just saying.
It sounds like
very painful.
When the tornado hits the hardware store in Kansas, right? Right.
That's kind of what I was thinking of. You know, but instead of cows, it's just full of metal shards.
It says full of 12-point nails and screws and hacksaws flying through the air. Now there's a movie I'd watch, right?
Yep. Dan is right, probably. Space Hunter is the better of the two. I have not seen Metal Storm.
It depends how you're looking at better, right?
But yes,
so
I
one of them is a competent film.
Logic.
The other one will make you cry in pure joy. So
true. So many bad movies I haven't gotten around to watching.
I recently watched Saturn 3.
Oh, Saturn 3.
For the first time, yeah.
The jealous, rapey robot movie.
Yeah. I think they ran out of money before they built his head. That was just kind of like a weird aesthetic choice. It's like the arms and the head just didn't really seem like they're finished at all in the design process. But yeah,
that was made to compete with Disney's Black Hole of all things.
Yeah.
Huh.
I need to finish that actually.
Weird. I'm gonna have to look up Saturn 3. It sounds bizarre.
Yeah, it's got a Jane Fonda and
oh dear.
It's got like a really young, oh man, what's his name?
But it's no Barbarella.
Yeah, it's not Barbarella.
No. Yeah, I just finished watching Slime City, and it took me I had to watch it in 30-minute chunks because it kept making me physically sick. And that's a sign of a good movie in my book. It's just hard to get through, just because it's so gross. It's like something about yellow-green tinge.
Are you moving on to Slime City Massacre next?
Well, not anytime soon because I can't find it streaming. It's nowhere online. So
you know what I recently watched for the first time, and I I thought it was pretty awesome. Scanners.
Oh, I love Scanners.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like I'd never seen it, and I'd always heard about it, obviously, and stuff like that. And I was like, man, it's like a really good movie. I didn't know. Did you know how many sequels they made? There's like 3 or 4 sequels out.
So there's 2 canonical sequels, and then there's the Scanner Cop movies, which were both were produced as pilots for television series that did not get picked up.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
So there's a total of 5 films if you count those 2 kind of released on video as films, but were meant to be the beginning of television series.
Oh, sorry, Griffin, my mistake. This Farrah Fawcett was in
that is very correct.
Yeah. Another blonde was in another space movie.
That's what it should be called, the blonde space movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, I was gonna say something I forgot after the Farrah Fawcett thing. It's just whoop, it's gone. If somebody finds it, let me know.
It's weird that we live in a world where Farrah Fawcett doesn't exist anymore. That's a
Yeah.
weird thing to me.
It's weird. Well, I mean, she died like right around the time Michael Jackson died, so nobody cared. No, it was like this.
Clearly, we had our priorities in the right place, huh?
Well, I mean, that was kind of the bigger death of the 2 when you think about it. You know what's really funny, though? It's like, so when Michael Jackson died, like the year after that, I was in Japan because I was on a study abroad trip, and we went to Tokyo Tower, and no, this wasn't an anime. Stop asking. This was an actual thing that happened to me. We had ended up there on the 1-year anniversary of his death, and they had it all set up as like a giant Michael Jackson tribute on like the ground level, and then a couple of areas inside. And then there were like people dressed up like Michael Jackson. It was very confusing until I remembered what day it was. And then it made a little bit more sense. I just thought it was, for a minute, I thought, wow, Japan really likes Michael Jackson. And I was like, oh wait, it's the first year anniversary of his death. That's probably why. Dan says it was the same day. So that makes sense. It's kind of like, remember when we had that big like warpath of deaths from 2016, where it's like 2016 was killing off all of the beloved celebrities, and it's like China from WWE died, but then Prince died right after, and nobody gave a shit about China. And I mean, I get it.
All of China died? They repopulated fast.
Well, apparently, she was in the adult film industry for a bit, so I can't. I mean, have you seen the clit dick?
It may shock you to find out that I've missed that cultural milestone somehow. It slipped under my radar.
Somehow, I was at the Cheesecake Factory looking this up, and then like once I saw this horrible picture, like I was having dinner with some respectable friends of mine that are not pieces of trash like myself and aren't into things like weird things like wrestling and horror movies. They're actually like white collar people. And so I was there having dinner with them. And I think my boyfriend at the time was there. And somehow we ended up looking at China's clit dick. And from now on, it's just the clit dick factory for me now.
Well, at least it wasn't a sausage factory or anything.
Know that.
Wow. I don't know that we need to go on at this point.
I don't know. You can't follow that, right?
That might be the end of the planet, the platform, and my remaining brain.
It's like a thumb.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on.
Just another very uncomfortable episode of Sheebie Jeebies for Austin. There just happens to be a few more people involved.
Austin, had a ball. It was great to have you here.
Thank you.
Sam,
fun.
as always. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow night with Greg Lamberson, the director of Slime City Massacre, author and filmmaker of Johnny Gruesome. Please come on back tomorrow night to talk to a filmmaker who's made a couple great lo-fi horror films, gross out comedies that are kind of unbelievable until you see them.
Yeah, and I'm making non-alcoholic slimeritas. So I will be happy to share the recipe. It's really easy.
Apparently I could use this to help make those, right?
I don't think hickory goes in a margarita. And
I
as an
thought that-
alcoholic, I would know.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to thank.
I've never been that drunk. Jesus.
Again, I haven't drank since 1991, so I really don't know. I do want to thank Laundry Art for the gifts today. The awesome art.
Yes.
Um,
Check out Laundry's Instagram.
the bear tooth, the 2 cents, which is going directly into my retirement plan, and the new letter opener.
Yes. Yes, excellent.
So thank you very much. Words fail me. I've never received anything like it, just through the transom. That's an amazing thing to me. We are recording a couple things for this channel next week. Next week might be a slightly lighter week. We might do this month's Just Talking genre sometime in there. The week after that, there's going to be an onslaught of material, though. And we'll announce those once we have them all recorded and edited down, and I know we're ready to go with them. But any final words from you guys?
No. Everybody have a good week.
Austin, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm sorry I embarrassed you again.
No, it's okay. Thanks for having me.
Oh, and
All right.
yeah, I'll try to say clit dick less often. Okay, next time.
At least in Cheesecake Factory, yeah.
Okay.